We're going to start with one of the beetles, and this one is worked using Romanian couching. Now for this and a lot of the other insects, I'm going to be showing you on a sort of practice hoop before we do the insect for real, so that you get to grips with the stitch that we're using. So if you're right-handed, come up at the left. Now when we start the insect for real, we're going to be starting at the bottom, but I want to just show you on this wider bit here because I think it'll be easier to see the stitch. So come up on the left hand line and take a stitch down on the right, so horizontally across, and then come up just above that line on your first tram line. So you can see here that whatever shape that you're couching, I've drawn a couple of tram lines here. Now couching means that you're securing a thread that's laid across the fabric. For Romanian couching, the couching stitch, the stitch used to secure the thread, is larger than usual. So we're going to take the next stitch all the way to that second tram line there. Got a knot there, and then back just above to where you started. And then the second one goes all the way across and then up above that thread on that first tram line and down between the two now on the second tram line. So you're securing that thread down and then up above on the line to start another stitch. So down on the right, come up above and then take a stitch to secure that thread on the second tram line and then come up above. So you can see that you start to get a little pattern in the centre where your tram lines are. Now I just want to quickly show left-handers. If you're left-handed, you'll come up on the right and go down on the left, and then come up on the first tram line and go down, securing that stitch just below it there, and then go back to the right, take a stitch all the way across, come up on top on the line, and then go down in between those two stitches there and back up to start your next stitch. There we go. So down on the left, and up on the first line and down on the second. So that's Romanian couching, left-handed. I've drawn this beetle here and I'm using a water erasable pen which can easily be washed out later. If you've bought the kit, you'll have the designs that you can actually trace onto your bug box. You can put the insects wherever you like. I've tended to put the crawly ones at the bottom and the flying ones at the top, but it's entirely up to you. I'm using FS01 of the Steph Francis silks and my crewel needle. If you're right-handed, come up on the left, just at the bottom there, so not in the middle, we're starting at the bottom, and take your thread over to the right, and then come up immediately above it on that first line and do a large couching stitch underneath to hold that thread down, and then come up immediately above where you started, go down all the way across on the line, come up to the next line and couch that thread down, taking that long stitch, and then above it all the way across, to the line, to the next line, and then above it, to the first line on top, and then go underneath that thread to catch it down, and above it on the line. I'm going to complete a little more now, and then I will return. I've almost finished my beetle body, and when you've finished your thread, take your last stitch down there and finish off with a few stitches just on the back. Might just do one more. That'll do. And now we're going to put in the head. For the head here, I'm using the grey silk again, and I'm going to do a little satin stitch. So that's backwards and forwards. So come up on one side, go down on the other, around the back of the fabric, so you always come up on the same side and go round and round at the back. So the back should look exactly the same as the front. Just a couple of little stitches for the antennae there. And then for the legs, we're going to do a split back stitch. So come up at the start of one of them, take a stitch down, and then come up through that stitch. So you're splitting the stitch and go down. come up through the stitch, splitting the thread and down. Just do one more that way, and then when you get to the corner you can just do a straight stitch into the same hole. Now to do the other legs, just travel along the back. When I say travel, I mean take a few stitches into your stitching and then come up at the next leg. Now if you find it difficult to find your place, so if you find it difficult to come up through like that, then try it this way. Take a stitch away and go down into it. So let's just go around this corner. So take a stitch away and go down into it. Sometimes for a beginner that's an easier way to do it. It does use slightly more thread that way. You'll find it looks different on the back. I think that'll do for that one. And now I'm going to complete those, and that's your first insect done.